How good was Nate Robinson? Really? At just 5 feet 9 inches, Nate Robinson is the only 3-time NBA Slam Dunk Contest champion in history. He turned Dwight Howard into a meme. He single-handedly saved the Chicago Bulls season with the most insane bench performance in playoff history. And then, he got knocked out by a YouTuber. But here's the real question. Was Nate Robinson just a 5 foot 9 inch guy who could jump? Or was he actually one of the most explosive, fearless, and underrated players of his generation? We might be looking at this all wrong. Let's talk about how the hype was really built. Born in Seattle, Washington, Nate Robinson wasn't always destined for basketball. In fact, basketball wasn't even his first love. Nate Robinson played college football at the University of Washington as a cornerback. Yeah, you heard that right. 5 feet 9 inches and playing Division I football. But Nate wasn't just some bench warmer, he was good. He excelled in track, football, and basketball. This wasn't just a kid who could jump. This was a rare, elite, multi-sport athlete who could have gone pro in multiple sports. But when it came to basketball at UW, Nate had a partner, the all-star Brandon Roy. From 2002 to 2005, Nate Robinson and Brandon Roy formed one of the most electrifying backcourts in college basketball. 3 seasons together.
How come Robinson went to the free throw line? Roy cutting by and Robinson.
A Pac-10 championship in 2005. Back-to-back Sweet 16 appearances. Roy was the smooth operator. Nate was the explosive energy. Together, they put the University of Washington basketball team on the map. In their final season together, they took the Huskies to the Sweet 16 before both declaring for the NBA draft. Roy went 6th overall to Portland, and Nate went 21st to Phoenix, then immediately traded to the Knicks. 2 future NBA stars, 1 legendary college run. But Nate's journey was about to get complicated. 2006, Nate Robinson's rookie season, he's living the dream. Playing at Madison Square Garden, living in New York City. And then he got the news. Nate Robinson was diagnosed with kidney disease at just 21 years old. Doctors told him his kidneys were failing, that one day he'd need a transplant. But Nate being Nate, he kept playing. He averaged 9.3 points per game as a rookie. The Knicks were a mess. But Nate had one thing going for him. He could fly. Despite being the shortest player on the court most nights, Nate Robinson played with zero fear. He drove into the paint like he was 6 feet 9 inches. He challenged 7-footers at the rim. He dunked on people who shouldn't be getting dunked on. And he did it all while dealing with a life-threatening condition that would have ended most careers before they started. And then came the 2006 NBA Slam Dunk Contest. Nobody expected anything from the 5 foot 9 inch rookie, but Nate Robinson shocked the world. His most iconic dunk, jumping over Spud Webb, the 5 foot 7 inch legend. The 1986 dunk contest champion himself. A spectacular pass and dunk combination. Perfect score, 50 out of 50. The symbolism was insane. One undersized legend passing the torch to the next. The contest came down to a dunk-off against Andre Iguodala, and Nate Robinson refused to lose. And just like that, in his rookie year, while battling kidney disease, Nate Robinson became the NBA Slam Dunk Contest champion. Small man with huge hops. The entire basketball world was put on notice. This wasn't just some undersized player trying to survive in the league. This was a 5 foot 9 inch warrior who was here to dominate, no matter what life threw at him. Fast forward to 2009, the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. Dwight Howard walks out in a Superman cape. He's 6 feet 11 inches, 265 pounds, and the most dominant center in the league. The hype was insane. This was supposed to be Dwight's coronation. But there was one problem. Nate Robinson showed up wearing green. Not just any green, Kryptonite green. The storyline wrote itself. Superman versus Kryptonite, Giant versus Giant Killer. The contest came down to the final round. Dwight threw down his iconic Superman dunk from the free throw line. The crowd went wild. But Nate Robinson jumped over Dwight Howard and slammed it home. The place exploded. Nate Robinson defeated Superman. He became a culture icon in that moment. The memes, the highlights, the legacy. This was the moment that cemented Kryptonite Nate Robinson in NBA history. But he wasn't done yet. 1 year later, Nate Robinson returned to the dunk contest. And guess what? He did it again. In 2010, Nate Robinson won his 3rd NBA Slam Dunk Contest, making him the only player in NBA history to three-peat the dunk contest. Not Vince Carter, not Michael Jordan, not Dominique Wilkins, Nate Robinson, 5 feet 9 inches, the shortest player in NBA history to ever win it, and he did it 3 times. Sure, some critics said the competition wasn't what it used to be, but the numbers don't lie. The spectacle, the energy, the moment. Nate Robinson was the dunk contest in the late 2000s. He made it must-watch television, and even to this day, his name is still mentioned every single year when dunk contest season rolls around. That's legacy. But let's be real, Nate Robinson wasn't just a dunk contest legend, he actually had a solid NBA career. He played for 8 different teams: New York Knicks, Boston Celtics, Chicago Bulls, Denver Nuggets, Golden State Warriors, LA Clippers, and New Orleans Pelicans. Everywhere he went, Nate brought the same energy. Microwave scorer off the bench, fearless shot taker, momentum changer, crowd energizer. In Boston, he played alongside the Big Three: Pierce, Garnett, Allen. And you know what? Nate Robinson pulled off one of the greatest pranks in NBA history. During a Celtics practice, Nate set up Shaquille O'Neal. He convinced Shaq to stand under the basket. Then, 5 feet 9 inches, Nate Robinson dunked on 7 feet 1 inch Shaq. And before Shaq could even react, Nate sprinted away laughing, running for his life before Shaq could catch him. Shaq even admitted it happened. The audacity, the confidence, the comedy. Only Nate Robinson would have the guts to pull that off. But his most iconic NBA moment? That came in Chicago. April 27th, 2013, Chicago Bulls versus Brooklyn Nets, Game 4 of the first round. The Bulls were down, Derrick Rose was injured, Luol Deng was hobbled. The season was on the brink. Fourth quarter starts, Nate Robinson checks in, and what happened next is legendary. 23 points in the fourth quarter and overtime. 23 off the bench. Clutch threes, fearless drives, dagger after dagger. Nate Robinson single-handedly saved the Bulls' season. It's often called one of the greatest bench performances in playoff history. A 5 foot 9 inch guy playing with the heart of a giant. That game showed the world what Nate Robinson really was. Not just a dunker, not just a sideshow, but a winner who could take over a game when it mattered most. After the 2015 season, Nate's NBA career ended. He tried to keep playing overseas, Israel, Lebanon. But the explosiveness that made him special started to fade. And behind the scenes, something else was happening. His kidneys were failing. By 2018, the kidney disease that had been diagnosed back in 2006, it finally caught up with him. His kidneys completely shut down. Nate Robinson needed a transplant, or he would die. For years, Nate fought in silence, searching for a donor, hoping for a miracle. And then in 2020, before his transplant could happen, Nate Robinson made headlines again, but not for basketball. Nate Robinson stepped into the boxing ring against Jake Paul and got knocked out. The clip went viral, memes everywhere. The internet clowned him relentlessly. It was rough to watch. A guy who spent his entire career defying the odds, getting humbled on the biggest stage. But here's the thing about Nate Robinson. He still showed up, 5 feet 9 inches, stepping into a boxing ring against a bigger, younger opponent. While his kidneys were literally failing, was it a bad idea? Probably. But that's who Nate Robinson is. Fearless, confident to a fault, willing to take on anyone, even when life keeps knocking him down. February 2025. After years of waiting, after his kidneys completely failed, after the boxing knockout, after everything, Nate Robinson finally received his kidney transplant. The donor? Shane Cleveland, a connection made through the University of Washington community, the same school where Nate and Brandon Roy became legends, the same place that shaped him into the warrior he became. Nate publicly thanked Shane as his guardian angel, the man who saved his life. After nearly 20 years of battling kidney disease,
gift I ever got besides my children. And I think I got this guy right here to thank for that. Some people don't get to meet their guardian angels. I got a brother in mine. Mine's my brother, man.
After playing an entire NBA career with failing organs, after defying every single odd imaginable, Nate Robinson got his second chance at life. Think about that for a second. From 2006 to 2025, 19 years of fighting a disease that could have killed him at any moment. And he still won 3 dunk contests, still had that legendary playoff performance, still inspired millions, all while his body was breaking down from the inside. That's not just heart, that's legendary. So, how good was Nate Robinson really? Was he an all-star? No. Was he a superstar? Not quite. Did he revolutionize the game? Debatable. But was he one of the most explosive, fearless, and resilient players to ever step on an NBA court? Absolutely. The only three-time dunk contest champion. A playoff legend who saved an entire season. A symbol for every undersized player who was told they were too small. And a survivor who fought a 19-year battle with kidney disease. And won. Nate Robinson proved that heart, confidence, and resilience can take you anywhere. He inspired a generation. He gave us iconic moments. And whether you remember him for flying over Superman, getting knocked out by Jake Paul, or fighting for his life, one thing's for sure, Nate Robinson never gave up. Size doesn't matter when you've got heart, and neither does anything else. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment below and subscribe for more NBA takes. This is From the Trenches. Real stories, real struggle, real basketball.